I'd like to call the meeting to order. This meeting will be recorded, and at the end we'll be going into executive session to discuss facilities, negotiation with represented personnel, and legal strategy, and we will not be reconvening at the end.
How much is quorum?
Quorum is, we are 11, so quorum is 6.
All right, we're good.
We're good.
We're good.
Thank you. And we're going into executive session because it would be detrimental to our negotiations to do it in open session. So given all that, let's see, Sarah, do we have public comment?
No.
Okay, great. No public comment. Next up, per our plan, we want to pull our votes to the top of the meeting. We will have, ask people to review the 2 sets of minutes. So starting with the boot camp minutes. I take it.
Move to approve the boot camp minutes?
Second?
So Cindy and Raul, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next up, give you a little more time to read the October board meeting minutes. Entertain a motion to approve the October minutes.
I would move to approve the October 24th board meeting minutes.
Second?
Second. Okay. Sheila and Cindy, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next up, I would like to nominate Ben Hamill for the First, I'm stepping aside as development chair to allow Ben Hamill to take over the role. We discussed this at the development committee and everyone was in favor. And so, since it is a committee chair, this requires a vote of the board to approve the change of development chair. So, I'd like to make a motion. I'm making a motion to nominate Ben Hamill as Development Committee Chair.
Second?
Second by Rule. Discussion?
I think it's a great choice.
I think it's a great choice, too.
I don't know if that's what you meant by
That was a
discussion,
natural.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Congratulations to Ben.
I feel bad he's not here. It's kind of like the guy who's not here.
You don't show up, you get put on committees. Let the,
He's traveling.
That's what happens when you don't show up.
I do have a report, development committee report from Ben. Ben contacted me and had a business.
So he's not
but
unaware.
He is not unaware. He is.
It won't be a surprise.
It's not a trick.
Did you get Jill's email? She said that she was going to be an hour late.
I did not. Okay, we will. we will move, as needed, we will move governance to the bottom of that agenda. One other administrative thing, I'd like a board member to volunteer to be timekeeper for tonight to keep us on track.
I can do that.
Yes, thank you. So with that, other questions, administrative questions before we go on to the report section of the meeting? Seeing none, I'd like to turn the floor over to Ellen to give us the executive director report.
I'm cleaning house here a little bit. Okay, nice to be with all of you tonight. We're going to start my report. 1 second. Okay, so here's our overview for this evening. We're going to talk just for a minute about the charter renewal visit and the timeline of when we're expecting things, next steps. And then we're going to just give you a quick little 1 second update on scheduling Avengers and where we are right now. Met with them this morning. And then we're going to talk a little bit tonight about the state ranking for the SAT and AP, and then we'll do a little razzle-dazzle time. And then the board members have requested that I talk about upcoming events, the things that are coming up in the next month or two, and so we will hit that too. Okay, so charter renewal, as you may remember, they came on November 1st. This is something that happens every 5 years here at AMSA. They're doing things a little bit differently on their side, which changes the timeline a little bit, and I want to make people aware of it. So we will be receiving a draft of our site visit report on or about January 14th. This is considerably later than I thought. When they left, they thought about 4 to 6 weeks. It's actually out to January 14th. Once again, it used to go back and forth a couple more times than it is now. So it's going to be January 14th, and what they'll do is they'll give us a draft of the report, and then we can check it for facts, and that's all we can check it for. And then we can expect our commissioners' recommendation to the board, that's the state level board, during the week of February 10th. This is also much later than we expected, and what has happened here is that we had 20 charter schools in Massachusetts that were up for renewal this fall. That's unusual. So what they did was they scheduled their site visits September, October, November, December. We were November 1st. So we're in the second half. So there is another group of folks who are getting their reports before the holidays, and they will be getting their decisions mid-January. We just happen to be in the second cohort. But that visit, as I said before, went very, very well. So we're expecting, hopefully, very good news to come. Fingers crossed. Okay, so the scheduling timeline. Scheduling has always been a big topic here at AMSA. It really is the backbone of the school. The program of studies was just published yesterday, December 4th. It was going to be out, but due to snow, it ended up coming out on December 4th. And so you'll see the updated version if you take a look under student academics on the website. So then the teachers, so the students can start looking at that now, and the families, it went home also with a link and an email to families. Teachers then, when they come back from the holidays, January 7th, they will start putting in course recommendations. Right now, the scheduling Avengers are actually creating the side of the website where they put in the recommendations. And then the students will begin requesting classes on February 1st, and they'll have a couple weeks to do that. And then the department chairs will get the list of, how many students want to take AP Euro and how many students want to take, calculus. And then they will determine how many sections of each we can offer, we can support, or how many sections are required. So if it's a huge request for, AP Bio, we see how many sections we can cover. And that they'll have that all done by March 6th, and then the scheduling Avengers go live, and they start working on that, getting that schedule ready. All right, so a quick thoughts around, I'm hoping this is going to be the final time that we talk about test scores from 2018 and 2019. So hopefully this is the final overview. Mike, the next one. But some things, we're talking about ranking tonight, which is different than percentiles. Some people like ranking. I think there's things we can learn from ranking, but I don't think that it's the end of the story on data for sure. And so there's some things I would like us to consider as we look at these rankings for SAT and AP, and I separate them out. And the first is that the SAT, all the students are taking the same exam with the same two sections, right? It's the reading and writing section, it's the math section, and the students are taking these exams for the most part between the spring of their 11th grade year and the earlier fall of the 12th grade year. So it's the same students taking the test. They're around the same age, within 6 months of knowledge and development. And so I think that you really can look at an SAT and you can rank it, and you can get a nice solid score or solid averages for that group of cohort of students. AP is very, very different. And it really, to me, is apples and oranges. I don't know how you really can rank AP scores, because you're ranking against schools from all over the state who have different criteria for getting into an AP class. They're teaching different AP classes. And when you take a whole average, we have 18 AP exams that we offer. There's AP exams that we don't offer, specifically because, for example, computer science, principles of computer science, as Ms. Bandru would tell you, that's our middle school curriculum. So we don't use that AP exam. We use another computer science AP exam that she uses that's more appropriate at the level where our students are ready to be. But if we did AP the principles class, the kids would get all 4s and 5s, right? But we don't do that. And the same thing Dr. Jure says with the AP environmental science exam. So when we have 18 exams that you're taking an average on, all different ones, compared to a school who maybe taught 10, with different criteria to get in, and different numbers of students taking the test, it makes it really hard, I think, to actually get a true ranking. And then we also at AMSA, and it's different for every school, but we offer AP classes in 10th grade through 12th grade. Some only do 12, some only do 11, some do 9 through 12. So it's, once again, tough to compare. The other thing is that we encourage all our students to take AP exams. We have a goal in our accountability plan that at least 90% of our students will take at least one AP class during their high school time. So that's really encouraging, just open doors to allow students to take AP. But there are some schools out there that don't have that open access, right? There's a lot of qualifications it takes to be able to take an AP, so those scores can be potentially higher. So once again, ranking on AP, I think we're talking about apples and oranges. Jess and I had a detailed conversation about this earlier. You want to throw a thought in there, Jess?
Yeah, I think if you saw rankings, for instance, like how AMSA did on the AP Calc exam compared to all of AP Calc all over the state, that might be valuable. For instance, the AP exam scores are not particularly normed to a pass rate. So for instance, I teach AP Gov, which nationally has a pass rate of like 52% compared to like AP Calc, which I think is like over 70%. So they're not normed to all have the same passing rates. So some exams just have their own standards within them. So it's a little bit complicated. So I wouldn't look at my score and say, oh, more of my kids pass than AP French, because it's not the same. They're just, whereas SAT is a little bit more normalized across the board. Does that make sense? AP is kind of a weird thing.
Yep, and so I'm also going to show you there's also some inconsistencies between the reports that we got from College Board and what the state is actually reporting on their website. Okay, so we're going to look at SATs first. We had 185 SAT exams that were taken by AMSA students. They do not take them here for the most part. They go to other schools to take those exams. And our average scores for reading and writing was 624, ranked us in reading and writing 10th in the state, and our math average score was 662, and that ranked us 4th in the state. So once again, I can look at this and I can see those are really very, very strong scores. And I do believe it's more apples to apples that we are comparing and ranking. But now we take a look at, this is the state AP rankings, and you're going to see first, so I put this in a kind of a comparison so you can see the discrepancies. So College Board has reported that we had 483 tests taken. For some reason, the state says we had 490. It was 483. As far as percentages of scores 3 plus, College Board reports to us that 89% of our scores were 3, 4, or 5, 5 being the very top score. The state actually says that our percentage of 3 plus scores is 84.5. And so I looked at that a little bit more closely and I thought, my goodness, where in the world is the discrepancy? But they also drop scores for tests when we test 10 or less students. So for example, our AP Lang, we had 9 or 10 exams. They just dropped that. And our average score was a 4.14, excuse me. And so when they dropped some of our exams where our students scored very well.
Maybe R2 is less than 10.
Yes, it's less than 10, and our AP Art students were outstanding this year. And so their scores actually were over 4 also. And so those got dropped. So I think it really skewed this number, and I wanted you all to see that in actuality, this is what the College Board has reported to us, 483 exams, 89% with 3 or above for scores. So when I actually went on to, and if you're interested, the link is down here, when I actually go into the Mass State report, if you look at the 84.5, which I don't believe are accurate numbers, we rank 41 with the 18 AP scores that we have. But if I take actually the solid 89% the College Board gives us and put it into the list, it puts us more at 27. Once again, you know, we have some really outstanding AP scores, and we have some AP scores that we need to work on, AP classes that we need to work on. I don't think that they can be really ranked in a clear way.
The aggregate is just not, the aggregate's weird, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not there. So just to give you just some thoughts, though, when we look at this number of test scores 3 and above, this is a slide I used in September. This year, as I said, 89%, but I gave you some history here too. So in 2018, 92% of our students scored 3 and above, 84% in 2017, 86 in 2016, and 89 in 2015. That's our last 5 years. I think that's maybe a better measure of our success. Our goal is to be 90%. So that's what we're working towards. We haven't quite hit that. We hit that 1 year. But we are working towards that. And once again, just as a reminder, for this year, Massachusetts average overall for this whole state was 76.6, and globally 67% with 3 and better. All right, and so once again, though, we always strive for academic excellence at AMSA, and we're always trying to do better every day in everything that we do. And so, just a reminder to let you know that we've created this document here called the Baker's Dozen. You received a copy of this in September. It was put together by Dr. Lewis, a number of the department chairs. I know Jess Bowen helped, and a number of AP teachers helped put this together and reviewed it with the top 13 Baker's Dozen list of things to do to boost student AP scores. The department chair has been working much more closely this year with our AP teachers who need the extra support, and there's been other support put in place to work on those areas. And now we got a little time for razzle dazzle. I got about 7 minutes. Here we go. All right, you may have seen, may not have seen that that Newsweek ranked AMSA number 70 out of 5,000 in the country for STEM high schools. Very proud of that. Mike Finkel has that all over social media, so thank you, Mike. And then I wanted to give you an update on the Diderot Society. You may remember this is something that Anders has been working on closely with Jordan Hill. They have a fantastic group of kids in there. I got to go to their meeting last Friday. It was absolutely delightful. It made my week. And they have a colloquium night coming up on January 15th. Want to make sure that you're invited to that at 6 p.m. And this is a little video that Mike does, these highlight videos. I just wanted to show you a minute of this, of the kids talking about Diderot and what they've been doing.
Hello, everybody. everybody. Welcome. Season 2, Core Values in Action. Mr. Naraki here, Principal of AMSA, and I'm here with two great guests. I have Anant Sinha, Senior here at AMSA, and Co-President of our Diderot Society, and Nathan Hardy, Co-President of our Diderot Society.
Having 5 pillars to kind of build our society off of. Having a pillar of a discussion group where kids can gather, again, learn about different schools of thoughts and apply that to contemporary issues. And then we also brought in the concept of having a podcast and also a journal where we could discuss a bunch of different academic things. Another theme we've talked about is, whether it's good for the entire population to watch The Simpsons or read Shakespeare, right? Do you decree that they have to do one or the other if they have the choice to do something?
Since is it justified that we project the Shakespeare's works as more important than The Simpsons, or is that all up for debate? In the Diderot Society, we're fundamentally trying to draw from the wisdom of the past in order to make well-informed decisions in the current era and in the future.
Okay, so Nathan actually mentions about the podcast, and we actually have our first podcast that's going to be published, I believe, mid-December, and I believe it's Mr. Smith from our English department. And then there's one coming up a couple weeks after that, and that's Miss Waldron, our English department chair. So it's going to be absolutely delightful. So they have that coming up, and then they have their first event coming up in January. So it's very exciting. All right, so you may or may not have heard the great success of our girls volleyball team. And they actually won this particular game. You can see Mr. Bengiovanni up here at the top of the photo. What a great group of girls. I missed this game, went to the next one, which we ended up losing, but they did win the Division III Central Final. If you can go to the next one. I just want to show you just, 60 seconds of these kids. I got emails from other coaches, other athletic directors, and parents from the teams that we played, talking about what an amazing group of kids we had, especially the students that were in the stand. And it was fantastic. So our kids are in orange. This is when they won the game. And then the next game that we did end up losing, everyone, it was a blackout, so everyone had on black, and we were all there. We had 2 fan buses that went to the game. It was a lot of fun. What a great sports team that we have, and I just couldn't believe that we got several emails from people commenting on what great sports our kids were. So I thank them all for that. And for the coaches, because they did a great job. Okay, so here's our upcoming events. December 17th, the staff holiday party, and you're all invited. You should have got invitations from me and from Snow. It's at 4 o'clock at the Casa Diva in Northborough, which isn't far from here. We hope that she'll come, even if it's just for a few minutes. It's a lot of fun, and the PTO does a fantastic job. And then we have the Diderot Society colloquium night at 6 o'clock on January 15th. The kids would be so excited. I mean, they're like hoping maybe 15 people will come. Miss Lindsay, will you come? Will you come? I will definitely be there, but boy, would they love to see all of you. So there you go. And we'll have teachers there, because there'll be teachers there that will be presenting that night.
Where is that?
That's going to be here. It'll be right here. Yep, right in this room right here. Yep, you got it. And then we have 8th grade step-up night coming, 6 to 8 o'clock on January 23rd. And this is just, for your information, this is kind of like the transition meeting talking to 8th grade parents about what is our curriculum like. The department chairs are all here. What's the curriculum like? What do we offer if you stay here at AMSA in 9th grade and in high school, which we certainly want you to do. The next one is just a reminder that we do have the strategic planning meeting coming up for board members on January 25th. That is a Saturday. I have 8:30 down there in the morning. That's typically when we start, but that was a guess on my part. So then, as we become more and more active on a political level with the Massachusetts Charter School Association, I wanted to add in an activity that they have coming up. On February 13th is a Charter School Advocacy Day right at the State House in Boston. You're all invited to attend. I will be there, Mr. Naraki will be there, and anyone else who would like to come. So that's just something to get on your calendars.
Ms. Lindsay, if
Yes?
I may add, January 24th is Fabulous Arts Night.
Oh, goodness, Jess, thank goodness you mentioned that. That's at 6 p.m.
I think that we have the space booked for 6 p.m., but I think performances, I can't remember when the performances start.
I will have to make sure that's on my calendar. I do enjoy going to that, and that should not have been left off our events calendar, so thank you, Jess.
Chorus, jazz band, a cappella, and all of the visual arts to get displayed as well. It really is a lovely night if you've never been.
It is a lovely night.
Not just
Here
because I'm
too?
there.
Pardon me, that's here too, yes. Are you still doing the displays in the White Building this time?
We have a planning meeting this week. The performance, the music performances happen in this room, and
Yeah.
I believe
The art
the
displays.
visual arts are in the White Building.
We tried that as an experiment last time in the spring, and it seemed to go well.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then just a big happy holidays to everyone. I hope you enjoy your holiday season.
20 minutes on the nose from your timekeeper.
Any questions for Ellen?
No, just a comment. I feel it was the last meeting where we say it would be good to have a calendar of events, and so you remembered and delivered. So thank you for that.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up, we have a presentation from Board on Track. I have information here, who's ever doing IT. Hopefully we're going to try to
Dial them in.
I've got a phone number as well as a webinar address via Zoom.
I sent the link to your computer, Mike.
Excuse me, Roger, are you skipping the teacher report?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, is it up to us to start this?
Yeah, well, I'd like to hold
thought
on,
we had to start.
because we had scheduled this right for 7 o'clock, so with permission from the teacher and parent rep, I'd like to stay on schedule with our external presenters.
Yeah, this is
Oh, you don't see it out there.
You have to dial 7, then the number, I think. Yeah.
Is this just audio?
No, there is a slide deck that goes with it.
It is. Just, is it true that Arts Night's on a Friday night this year?
This is the first time we're experimenting with a Friday night, so we have almost always, we've tried to alternate between Wednesdays and
maybe not.
Thursdays.
Try with us.
And some of the feedback we got were that arts teachers were exhausted the next day and were taking personal days just to recover. And so we thought we would experiment with a Friday night and see if that helped a little bit.
That's why my eye didn't catch it, I
Welcome
think.
to Zoom.
Okay, thank
Enter
you.
your meeting ID followed by pound.
Although you went and scheduled the strategic meeting the next day, so I won't benefit from that.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. You are in the meeting now. There is one other participant in the meeting.
Hello, this is AMSA. Calling in from the
I am.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Katrina.
Good evening.
We're still working on the visual aspect. We've got you, right now we just have audio.
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
It's
coming.
Yes. Click on the download here.
No, don't click.
Without audio, continue.
Okay, continue. All right. So we've got, well,
There it is. Yeah, that's our thing. We lost control. She has the control.
Katrina, you have control, and I'd like to pass it on to you. This is Katrina from Board on Track, who's going to give us a half-hour overview of all the great things that are available from Board on Track to help us be successful. So passing the baton here.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for taking the time and allowing me to use this time to share what we can do for you. I'm Katrina Dave, member of the Success Manager here. My team member Brianna was supposed to join me until last minute. She wasn't able to, but that's okay. After this meeting, I've introduced ourselves, gotten to know each other, and we want to basically kind of show you two types of users that interact with the platform versus how you would interact with the platform. And then of course I'm going to give you a live orientation, and then we'll quickly touch on the assessment and quickly on the evaluation as well. In a nutshell, does everyone know who Board on Track is?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so did I not go into this, and I'll just kind of skip over, that way I don't waste any more time?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, no, thank you.
Sounds good. I'll keep it going. But basically, we pretty much help the board deliver exceptional results. And this is my team. Sam Folk, who Roger also have met, and along with Brianna. Sam is our Chief Customer and Product Officer. Any product needs, any app training, getting in contact, that person you reach out to as well. Along with myself and my team member Brianna, members of the managers, and then Mike Mazzoni, who's also our Chief Governance Officer. Any type of governance advice, product expert as well, you can always reach out to him. Those are my team members. And then in terms of who your super users are and champion, Roger, I kind of like shot it at you being the champion, considering you set this all up. But of course, there's two types of users, and I know there's your super user who basically manages the critical operational aspects of running your board, so it's just agenda or minute taking, any type of meeting administration. So typically that's like a board secretary or staff member. And then champion is Roger Jarrett. We kind of pointed that out, but it could be anybody and any one of you, basically driving the strategic side of good governance, and someone who's going to be coordinating the CEO evaluation or the board assessment, the member profile, and strategic goals within the platform. So these are the two types of users that we have established in the system, so that way we know who to train based on what you do. So if you're any one of these, and if you need certain types of training, you can always reach out to me or one of my team members, so that way we can kind of align you with what your needs are and how you would be interacting with the platform. Any questions so far?
No.
Great. So for the orientation agenda, I'm going to go over the member profile. Some of you have filled it out, but not all, but just so I can kind of reiterate and help you understand why it's so important for you to have that, and everyone's completing that questionnaire, along with the dashboard, meetings, documents, and resources. And so we can get started. So I have a Mimic account that I have set up for all my training. I'll do that. So when you log on to Board on Track, the first thing that you're going to see is your dashboard. To everyone else, it's just a simple screen, but there's actually more to it. So any upcoming meetings that you have been invited to and haven't RSVP'd, anything that has to be taken place by you, any task that has been given to you will always be located in the My Action items, so you always want to take a look at that, and if there's anything that you need to do, you just simply click on it, it'll bring you to right where you need to go. and complete that task or RSVP to a meeting, things like that. And this will also tell you any upcoming meetings that you were invited to. And just so everyone is aware, this upcoming meeting provides you any meetings that are going to happen within 30 days. So in committee meetings, other meetings, or board meetings, you'll always see that in the upcoming meetings. And then along with the post, so this is a place where, a lot of times our members come to us and say, is there a way that we can email everybody? We don't necessarily have a place where you can email everybody, but we do have a place where you can post. I'm sorry, you'll see all these crazy little things here, but this is a place where you want to share any information. For example, if you started a board assessment and you want to let the rest of your board members who haven't completed it, just input that information right there. And then of course you can notify them and let them know that it needs to be done. But also you can see who was notified by just clicking on the three dotted icon. And you can see who received that and they got it first via email. They'll get a notification.
So is that an individual setting? Do they only get notified if they have that setting on to get an email on the post?
No, there's that checkbox option. You can either send it to not get a notification, or you can check it off so that way they don't get it.
Okay.
So, and this is not meant to be selective. It's meant to be for everybody. So if you're trying to share any information to everyone, this is the place you want to do that.
Thanks.
Any questions? Any questions?
No, we're good. No questions.
All right, great. So the next thing you want to see is also your on-track score. So a lot of times people just see this and they're not really sure what it is. So let me just help kind of define it a little bit. So there's 5 P's that we help you focus on, which is your priorities, your people, your process, performance, and progress. So priorities correlate with the board goals. If you look at the board goals section, if you click on it, it'll bring you right to your results, but also provides you where all the 5 P's are located. And then of course, if you click on them, you'll be able to see that it brings you right to your board goals. Now if we go back to your dashboard and click back on the on-track score, I'll bring you right to the report section right over here. And then of course, people are your teams and how you grow strategically, but also how each board member is engaged with the platform. Someone who's downloading the agenda, someone who is downloading the minutes. This information right here tracks to see how engaged your board members are. So you can click on it and you'll see that they completed certain tasks within the platform. And of course, if they're engaging in other forms such as leadership role assigns, things like that. And then the process, I go back to the dashboard, that shows you, how you are interactive with the platform in terms of if your meetings are being set up, if your agendas are being written, or if you're taking minutes. And then of course the performance is in terms of your board assessment. And of course, it's how you hold each other accountable to help your board define success. And then of course the last P is your progress. Basically it measures your overall progress and will mature as your organization complexity grows and evolves. So any questions on the dashboard? Oh, and if you notice that I just posted something, so it'll be located in your dashboard as well. So there's a lot going on in the dashboard. Does anyone have any questions before I move on?
No.
Great. So meetings, there's a lot going on here too. I know looking at your own boards, you have a lot of committee meetings set up and other meetings and board meetings as well. Just so you understand, when you're going into the meeting section, there's a lot of things going on here as well, but just to kind of point it out, if you are a person who likes to visually see what's going on in that particular month, you can click on these 2 icons to either turn it to a tile or a calendar view. And if you want to just filter out any board meetings, you can just simply click board, It'll only show you all the board meetings, but if you want to see all your committee meetings, you'll be able to just click on committee, other, and then of course on track, which will typically be red. And then you can also filter out your fiscal year, the first, second, or third, or fourth quarter. But then you can also filter out your school year. So for as long as you have board on track, you'll be able to locate information that way. And then once you click on a meeting, you'll be able to see any details right over here on the right side of your screen. And you can also see what stages that meeting is at. So if it's been publicly shared, if it's been finalized, if it's still not publicly shared, such as private, and of course, whatever stages that specific agenda or minutes is at, this information will tell you right over here. And if you want to click on it, of course, you want to see view details, so you can get more information about where the meeting is at. And then, of course, the agenda, you'll be able to scroll down and see any attachments. You can see what stages it's at. For those of you who don't have board on track admin, you might not have these particular features up here, but you definitely will be able to download the agenda or the minutes when you see it. And I know some of you, I know me and Roger spoke, and he mentioned that some of you do take minutes during committee meetings. So I'm actually going to show you a video which was recently just released today about how our new upcoming minutes feature will be. And it's only a 4-minute video, so if you guys don't mind, sit tight. I'm going to share the video with you. Give me 1 second. See that? Jumping ahead. Got it. Sorry, looking for it. I know I had the link. Oh, there it is. Okay. Apologies, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 1 second while I look for it. I know I have it. I definitely want to share this video with you because it's only been shared with our super users who have gotten the email. And so I just decided to share it with the rest of you because, again, I know some of you do minutes. So give me 1 second while I pull that up. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, you're going to hear my voice too, so here it goes. Welcome to Board on Track Meeting Minutes tutorial. We are excited to show you all the new features when taking minutes. Let's get started. Once the agenda has been finalized and you are ready to take minutes during the meeting, I'd like to point out a few things. As a minute taker, we have now made it faster for you to enter and edit minute records. At the top right corner, you can preview the resulting minutes and open the agenda in a new tab, which can be very useful. Now, the system auto-saves any discussion, notice, votes, approved minute votes directly to the device and not the server, so your work will always be saved. Just to point out, there are 4 types of votes: call to order, ordinary votes, approved minute votes, and adjourning the meeting to end. Also, anytime you see blue icons, there are action items for you to complete. The first section you will see is the notice. If you need to edit, simply hover over and click on the edit icon to save or cancel any changes. Just a reminder, the opening and closing items in the meeting minutes are disabled to rename. There are only 2 types of group attendance. They are voting members and guests. When you are recording the attendance, you can also make changes by clicking on the 3 dotted icons. When you need to add guests, simply add the attendee's name
If they are a board on track user, a drop-down menu will show and provide you the option to select that user. Section and items have the menu icon, which will always allow you to rename it. You can move them up or down and delete it. When you hover over the item, you have several action icon options to select. You can edit, delete, or rearrange it. You can also double-click to edit the items and save your changes. Now there is a minute record type specifically for approving minutes. If meeting minutes are outside of Board on Track, or if it's the first time you're using Board on Track, you can simply select Not in Board on Track. But if it's a minute that has been recorded in Board on Track, simply select the date of the board meeting. Discussions are always optional. You can also vote, individual vote, or select if someone arrived early or late. You're also able to insert an item to that section. When you insert a new section, it only enables after the last item inside a section. Once the meeting is over, which is the adjourn item, you can choose with or without a vote simply in one go, and then select adjourn. There are a few things I want you to pay attention to. At the bottom, you will see all the attachments available for you to select that are discussed in the meeting. Note, if you need to add more attachments, all you have to do is go into the agenda section, select the attachment for that specific section or item to be available in the minutes. Lastly, at the top of the minute taking, you will see a task to complete, which kicks in after 60 minutes or as soon as you have adjourned the meeting. This will validate the minutes. They are color-coded depending on what is needed. The codes are red, which means you need to update to complete the minute. Yellow, which means it's warning, you don't necessarily have to update. And the green checkbox, which means you're complete. You have now completed the meeting minutes tutorial with Board on Track. If you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to one of our member success team or simply go to help and submit a request. Or if it's during 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time, one of our member success team will always be available for you to chat with. I hope as a minute taker, we have made it much easier for you to utilize the minute taking in Board on Track. Good.
All right, any questions? Okay, so I'm gonna move on to documents. Thanks for letting me share that. So we're excited to have that launched next week. And so I wanna show you all right, so documents are, there's 3 types of documents where the system automatically provides for you. There's the board documents, there's meeting archive, and public portal. Anytime, I'm going to start with public portal. Anytime you want to share information to the public, if you have enabled that section in the settings as a super user, any information you want to share, you can input that in the public portal section. Meeting archive has all the meetings that the system automatically saves for you. So if you click on the fiscal school year, you'll see all the meetings that have been taken place, and then it provides you the the entire packet, the agenda, and minutes. And then going back to the board documents, you can always upload or create folders by clicking on the icon right over here. By clicking folders, creating a folder, and then of course, if you want to create subfolders, you just click within that folder and then create it, and then you can drag and drop and upload the file over here. And also you can search, so if you know if certain documents have certain words, you can input that information in the search tool, and it'll populate all the documents that have that particular word. Any questions?
No questions.
Nope. All right, moving along is your board goals. And so the board goals, I don't want to go too much into it, but it's pretty much the way it works is that whatever committee that you have set up in your team, those specific committees will then translate into this board goal section. And so the way you want to basically create a goal for that specific committee
if you click on that committee, you add a goal. And then add the goal. And then what you want to do is within that goal, of course, there's some tasks that you want to create for certain board members or staff members. Create the task here. And then you can assign it to anybody. And then of course, if you want to have a specific due date, you can add it right over here. The great tool about this is, for some tasks, you might have 10 people do that same task. So what you can do is you select edit. And then you go up over here and you select edit right here. You can assign and copy this task to a few other board members as well, just by clicking on assign to all. And then you can just simply assign and then save your changes. And then if you go back to the goal, you'll see that it's been assigned to all those people. So instead of writing it 10 times, all you have to do is write it once in a week. You can add more people once you edit it. Any questions on that? No. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is your team. So I'm actually going to get out of my account right over here, and I'm actually going to go into your account. So give me 1 second while I do that. So when you're in your teams, you'll be able to see all the committees that have been established, but you'll also be able to see your terms and also your members report. So this is what I was talking to you about earlier in terms of filling out your skills and demographic questionnaire, because this right here provides you an overview report when it comes time to recruiting any board members, if someone just left, if someone just decided to leave, you wanted to hire somebody else, you'll be able to see where the skill sets that you're lacking or inefficient in, and then you'll be able to then, go along with what you need to search for, and along with your demographics as well. So those are your teams. So I went over your dashboard, your meetings, documents, board goals, and then your team. Last but not least is your resources. If you click on the resource section, there's a lot of great tools over here for you to see where you can search in webinars. Most of these webinars have been created by our CEO, Marcy, along with our Chief Governance Officer, Mike Mazzoni. And I know there's a lot of information here about, board meetings, board priorities, just a lot of great resources that you can also search right up over here. For example, for board assessments, you select search and then it'll populate all the results for you. So yeah, that's the resource section. I lastly want to touch on the board assessment as well. Basically, the board assessments in the platform measures individual and overall board performance. I think you guys have taken them in the past. And of course, it helps strengthen and find ways of knowing where your strengths are, but also areas where you need to improve. And basically, it's a data-driven, actionable recommendation that we also provide for you once you speak. And I also want to show you how that looks like. So once you complete it, you'll see the overall report. The great tool about the board assessment is if you click right over here, you'll be able to see all the individuals where they lied on based on that certain section of the questionnaire. And also if you show answer keys, you'll be able to see, I don't want to go too much into it because I definitely want to train somebody who's going to be coordinating the assessment, but I just want you to have an understanding of what you'll be able to see once you've all completed the board assessment in the Board on Track platform. And then last but not least is the executive director evaluation. It helps measure performance across key areas that are vital for success. But also, we actually have improved the evaluation in our platform recently, allowing you to customize any questions that you want to ask, that relates to your board. And of course, once the data has been gathered, it will provide you an aggregated score for each key area. So I think what next steps would need to be is, for everyone to complete their skills and demographic profile for the members report, so that way you can see overall view of where everyone stands. And also, I do want to ask and kind of have an understanding if there's anything that you recommend, that you can recommend on what next steps what next steps Board on Track needs to do for you.
It's a great question.
Any thoughts, feedback, questions?
I'll try to break the ice here for one question. So I noticed that on the ED assessment that there is the ability to customize that. Is there the ability to customize the board assessment as well?
So the only thing that you can do that we have right now is that you can remove certain sections that you don't want to ask. So it's not necessarily specific questions that you can remove, but just an entire section. So right now that's not customizable in that aspect the way it is with the CO evaluation. But we're looking forward to getting that, set up at some point by next year. Not sure when, but I know a lot of people have requested that, and so we're definitely looking into that.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
No.
Do you have a suggestion? So I'll give you, start off, we talked it in governance, so one of the requests we're going to make to the board is that they take at least read one or two of the articles, webinars on Board on Track sometime during the year. But are there other suggestions that you would have for the board to say, here's a concrete goal regarding Board on Track that would help us get on track?
Yeah, so I think the next step that I can recommend is having everyone complete the board assessment. Only because you can definitely remove certain parts of it if you don't think questions are relatable to your board. And then what we can do is we can have our Chief Governance Officer, Mike Mazzoni, work with the key, 3 points or even 4 points where you think that you can improve, and then work on those. Any governance advice that maybe next step when you have your next board meeting, we can talk to Mike and have him sit down with all of you and discuss all those key areas where you need growth.
Excellent, thank you. We do plan to do the board assessment survey in the spring time frame.
Platform like Google or Safari or Firefox on your phone. The way it works as if it's an app. So I've done it before. It's pretty easy to function on that as well. So it's kind of like an app in some ways, but we don't. To answer your question straightforward, we don't have an app, but it's definitely easy accessible for you to log onto your phone because it just adjusts to. They have made it in a way where it would adjust to your screen.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, Katrina, thank you very much for your time. It's a great presentation. Look forward to making better use of Board on Track.
For sure. Thank you everyone again for your time. I really appreciate it. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
All right.
Just wait until you get
All right, at this point, we'll go back to get ourselves through the agenda. Go back to the teacher representative report. Jess?
All right, hi. I don't have a lot to report. I will mention 3 quick things. One is that there's a teacher that runs a blog which refers to the beginning of the school year as devulsion, the deep evil vortex of late September, October, and November. And it's a very long stretch of the year, and after that first initial start of the school year, when the excitement wears off, you have to get all the way to Thanksgiving before you get through it. And that can be, especially of your first years. We've survived. We made it to Thanksgiving break. So we have survived evulsion. So that is actually the longest period of the school year that you go without a break. So now they sort of, then every few weeks you get something. So and the days are getting shorter and the schedule's picking up. It can be tricky. So we've survived that. So that's good. The other thing I want to mention is that teachers, just like the board, are looking forward to negotiating a new contract. They had a meeting today with the union to kind of set out what their goals are. This is always a process that is difficult and we have to do, but I feel like we're going in with a really positive sort of vibe about things, and people feel good about progress that we've made in the past and are looking forward to that again. And the other thing I want to mention is I always put out sort of a call, like, what do you want me to tell the board? What are your good newses and bad newses, and what are your questions? So I did get a question, and maybe we can take this up in executive session, but about the building status. I think there's a sense that teachers would like an update about funding for the buildings. We had the public meeting where we got the map of the new thing launched, and where do we stand with that? So I think the teachers would like a little bit of an update on that. So I don't know if that should come through me, and I'm happy to take guidance on that, if it should come through Ellen, or if it should come from the board, but yeah.
Very good point. We should discuss in executive session.
All right, that's all I got.
Questions for Just? Laura, parent report.
It's very quiet on the parent front.
Quiet is
So,
good.
I think probably everyone's lives are a little bit hectic at this point in time, but I will keep the ears open and keep you guys updated.
All right. Thank you. All right. Chair business. So just first an an update. I am going to be, because the governance committee is well set and up and running, and I'm going to be moving from the governance committee to the finance committee to help backstop for Jean, and effective today, yes. Second, we're beginning the process for the January board offsite. There's sort of two discussions. First, I asked to the board and anybody else who has suggestions. We are looking for suggestions on location to hold the offsite meeting. So if you have suggestions, contact Ellen or myself, and we'll figure out where to hold it. We can also take a poll of the board here as to what time would you like to start. Yeah, I think.
How long is it going to be?
12 hours.
I think, personally, I don't know, as far as length of the meeting, I think anything above 6.5 hours is about the end. You know, so if that, I don't know what other people's thoughts are as far as length. How long are you going to be effective as a group meeting?
Yes. I think we did 8:30 to 3 in October.
Yeah. So
That was a different kind of meeting, though.
Yeah.
We had an outside person keeping us constantly.
Yeah, we will.
Switching, just sitting at a board meeting from 8:30 to 3 might be
6 hours.
death.
All right. Yeah, we are planning, just to set the context, that we are planning to have an outside facilitator. We're probably going to use non-bill again, is the plan for those people who are on the board. But I definitely hear you as I hear an agreement on around 6.5 hours with a working lunch. So given that, what time would people like to start?
8:30, get it done.
So I hear.
I liked 9.
Okay.
9.
Well, just starting with where
We're not morning people, right? I said 9. So
9.
if it's 6 hours, 9 to 12 and 12 to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kristen?
9 works.
9?
9.
In the morning?
Yeah. Good.
All right.
Yes, it is good to specify, and it is Eastern time zone to be precise.
The alternative is 10 to 4.
No, Mark.
Okay.
Right, that's better.
All right, so I think as far as, so meeting time, I think we will aim for an 8:30 coffee, donuts, and then starting business at 9 o'clock. So next thing we'll work on, so if you have ideas on location, please send them to Ellen and myself. We'll take it from there as far as what the location is.
Is the church where, church hall where we were last, is that available?
I'm not sure. We haven't reached out to anyone yet.
Because that seemed fine, but I don't know if you have a different format for this meeting.
We haven't reached out.
Yeah, we
to
haven't,
anyone yet.
definitely, last.
You're starting at 9.
So, so the plan of record right now, if we clearly dependent on facilities, allowing this would be to pre-meeting coffee social at 8:30, meeting start at 9 a.m.
And
And working lunch targeting to end at 3 o'clock.
Do we have a rough agenda topic?
And topic, that's the next discussion. So so what I was thinking of right now, and I'm still open to suggestion, is that we have struggled for a long time to come up with a vision statement / vision agenda, larger document. I think that we are ready, at this point, I think we are ready this year to make that final push and come up with something that would be the basis for a vision statement. And I choose my words carefully here, in that the vision statement, similar to our similar to our other goals, and say that of academic excellence, help me out, community integrity, academic excellence, and yeah, see, my eyes can see that far. That the vision of the school needs to be socialized and be of the whole school. It cannot be something that, this is again my opinion, it can't just be something the board says this and everybody marches. It has to be bought into and agreed to and socialized with the whole community. So, the goal is not to come up with the document from on high and say this is the vision. The goal is to come up with something that would be the foundation for a vision for the school. Maybe think of it as a final draft or something. No, that almost sounds too concrete, but something that we can bring to the various constituents and say, this is the vision that we are believing in. Is this right? So that's what I'm thinking. I'm open the floor up to comments, questions. Especially like Jess, you've been involved with this for quite a while. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to be honest, Roger, it makes me nervous that you think final draft seems too concrete. Like, put it in concrete already. Like, I'm on the other side of that. So that's interesting to me that you sort of, we're not, you think we're here and I think we're here. So maybe that's something that we need to talk about. But yeah, I don't know. I also think that there's something to be said. I hear your point about not wanting this to come off as like a top-down thing, but I think that there is there's a risk in having it be too. I don't think I think the vision of the school is not something that should be flexible and democratic. I think there's somebody who teaches government. It seems weird, but there's a weakness in democracy that we'll. How do I want to say this? I think there should be some kind of top-down. Like, this is the vision, and this is what we're about. It's not really, we welcome all of your viewpoints to shape the vision of this school, because then that leads to mission creep. I don't know, am I expressing that? in a way?
No,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
well
So I think-
100%.
And I agree with absolutely every word you just said. I would encourage us to include the department chairs who have, many of them have 15 years of experience with the school. We have a board of half who have only been here for either months or just a couple of years. And I think we need input at least from our department chairs.
I think that there are people, yeah, like you, exactly. There are people who not only have a say in what that vision is, but have been living, breathing, and putting that vision into action for a long time, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
So I think there already is a vision. It's really just putting words to what we have been acting and believing and doing for a long time, rather than saying, where should we go? Like, we're not adrift on the wind. We know what we're doing. Do you know what I'm saying? So let's make sure that we're clear on saying what that is.
So can we gather some of that input prior to January 25th?
I think we've already done that.
Okay.
I think we've been spending a long time doing that. That's where I'm coming from. Maybe I don't...
We're new.
Been doing that for 5 years, going through that.
Wow.
So I guess for
We don't
those of
know
us that are
Right.
new to the board, then how is that communicated to
Right.
us so that we can?
Yeah.
So I have maybe not a suggestion on the plan, but a suggestion on what should come out of the strategic plan session, which is maybe, so what we wanted to make sure is that whatever vision statement, document, things that have already been put together is something that those people that have been here for a long time, those people that believe strongly that that's already shaped by the charter and the history of the school, that this doesn't conflict, right? So it is consistent and it
Yes.
highlights the values, not only the 3 values that we serve, the school values, but the specific vision of what makes AMSA AMSA, right? So that, I think that's where Roger was coming from and not saying, hey, this is what the board thinks and forget about the last 15 years, right? So
Yeah.
if what we have right now accomplishes that and the feedback, I don't know, the feedback you've heard doesn't say otherwise, then I think we're good. What we can do to take it to the next step, because the visions is what's there to guide our decisions when we have to make choices and trade-offs. And if there's no trade-off, there's no discussion, right? Of course, we all want excellence, but what's the trade-off, right? So I think that's the next step of the discussion, which is not necessarily defining the vision, but it's defining our strategy on how do we stay true to the vision with the challenge that we have today. And that starts getting more specific to, okay, where are the trade-offs?
Right.
Do we keep worrying about our facilities and, how much are we going to give up on other things to solve some problem? That's the kind of things that, to me, leads to strategy that then leads to goals. So when I think about strategic plan process, it's either goals and strategy or a combination thereof. That's based on the vision. That should be clear by now.
Right.
That
makes
Yes,
sense.
sir.
Just because I was involved with that. I think that there is still something that's not clear, and that is that this vision, there's the mission, there's this vision, and I think it was kind of back and forth. Was it telling you who we are, or was it what we want to be? And I think it went back and forth so many times. I think we ended up with something that was more like who we are than some kind of vision. So I'm not really sure what it really was, quite honestly, what we ended up with. It certainly is a good indication of who we are. But I think that, is it really something you're looking for? Are you trying to explain the mission and who we are, or are you trying to say something like we are going to aspire?
It's aspirational.
Right.
So I don't know if
I'm
Nan
thinking
can
that
help us with-
it should be aspirational. It should not just be, I'm thinking it should not just be the statement of where we are at.
Right, but aspirational, but realistic. Because I
Right.
think
Attainable.
that 2 years ago, when we got together, and the aspirations turned out that we're going to have an AMSA on the moon, I don't think that's
That was
realistic,
Mars.
right? Mars, right? And then it really, it's not realistic, and then
It dies.
it does nothing. It doesn't give you a direction to point in at all.
I
So
think,
you want aspirational but attainable?
Yes.
yeah, I think,
With that-
I personally get frustrated when I get a goal from work that says, land on Mars or whatever, and then you look at that goal and you say, I can't do anything about that, so I'm not going to try. So we want to find something that's in that in that sweet spot that is not the steady state of where we're at, but it's also not the
Pie in the sky.
the moonshot.
Right. It's like the desired future position for the school versus the, you know what I mean, versus the where we are, how we operate, what our goals and objectives are now. And then together, that's what kind of makes us hum.
Good, I think we agree. There's
Yeah,
consensus
I think
there.
we're-
Yeah.
So I wonder if we want to ask Nan for help, if she's going to facilitate, maybe between now and January, she might have suggestions on homework.
Yeah.
Whether
I
it's
expect
gathering
that there will
input
be-
from people.
Approach to take.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next steps are going to be that I'm going to get in contact with Nan. I'd already talked with her in the September timeframe to save the date for her. I've also reached out to the Board Advisory Council and sent a save the date email to them so that we will be getting some more of the history and their perspective as well. And then I also probably will be seeking out a couple of board members to help working with Nan to help plan the meeting once I have a conversation with her, get her guidance on how to proceed.
May I ask who that person is that you keep referring to?
Nan Dill was the facilitator, and she facilitated both the January and March strategic planning meetings we had last year.
Is she an AMSA person?
No.
Outside person?
She was outside
person was a friend of Pauline's from way back.
Thank you.
Other comments, questions, suggestions? And so I will keep you updated, and you expect to see a board homework assignment as part of the preparation for the offsite. Thank you.
Excuse me, Roger, just a clarification on stepping off of governance and going to finance. You were on finance a few days ago, right?
Right.
But you're coming down
Right.
as of today.
As of today, I'm no longer on the governance committee. So we can adjust quorum appropriately. All right, so the action items that I have from there is to contact and we also, for the whole board, is send suggestions on meeting location.
Looking for suggestions regardless of cost, or suggestions that are free? Or?
As free as possible.
Low cost.
Because we do provide lunch and there's costs there.
And we do have a fallback that we can meet here, but I think that just having a different location at a reasonable cost will make us more productive. Will pay for itself. All right. Did I miss anything on that? All right. Finance Committee.
Finance Committee reviewed the September and October financial statements a little while ago. So I'm looking for my notes. And we have a very favorable position right now, year to date. We are ahead of budget on our surplus by $266,000. And that's attributable to a couple of key items, including income being better than our budget. This is a year-to-date basis at this point, at $36,000 approximately, primarily driven by the tuition number being favorable, offset by slightly lower student programs revenue, which is due to some mix in programs this year, but again, that's offset by almost all the expenses, so it's a wash on the bottom. And another favorable item related to payroll taxes and benefits. We had a shift in timing of expense related to the new mandatory family medical leave costs. We're going to push that out until 2021. And we're going to validate some of that information, but it looks like that's going to be in the bank this year of about 30 grand. And we had a favorable
about another $100,000 in favorability in benefit calculation due to a budget good guy. We just incorrectly calculated that number, so that's a pickup of $100,000, which is wonderful. And generally speaking, all the expenses are favorable. Again, timing of how we spread the cost throughout the year can vary from line item to line item, and so overall we are quite favorable, including IT expense, student transportation, also related to some of those programs. Student programs themselves, as I mentioned, is quite favorable, and our supplies are low and favorable. Again, timing is very significant with this, so we could see that shift and get some of that money incurred in expenses later in the year. So we'll be watching that carefully to make sure we don't go over on a year-to-date basis regularly. We also had a discussion today. Leanna did a really nice deep dive into the athletics programs for the fall semester or fall trimester in sports, to look at where our costs are going and where our revenue are, and just to understand better what that looks like, because as we all know, we subsidize the athletic programs for the school quite a bit, and so we just want to understand better where that mix is and where the costs lie, so that we can be prepared as those costs continue to change and understand them. It was a big line item for the budget, so we just want to have a lot more information on that item. So that was a pretty robust discussion. And that's what I have. Any questions?
No, I just wanted to add that some of those expenses were associated with the field trips and things that were canceled in the fall that may happen in the spring. So it's not necessarily a gain in the IT, same things that, just want to make sure everybody knows that it's, although it shows an overage right now, that may not be that way over the months.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was brought up that one of the reasons for the lack of field trips in the fall timeframe was for a very good reason, is that we were not having afternoon or evening activities due to the EEE virus. So.
Right. Yeah, there was many outdoor field trips we couldn't take.
The only one that's permanent is that the health and benefits items that I discussed. Everything else we're still projecting to be on budget for the year. That's good news.
Okay. Questions for Kristen? All right, thank you. And thank you, Leanna, as well, for preparing the numbers. Finance. Education, Liz.
The Education Committee met last month, and we have been able to develop our 2 goals. Actually, thank you to Jess Bowen, because she gave a suggestion to Brianna, which we used. So we have 2 goals that we'll be submitting to Jill, and that will, I guess, bubble up to the overall board goals. The only strange thing that we're running into is the timing, because we developed the annual goals in January. So we're kind of like on a calendar year for goals, but we're on a school year. So it's just kind of strange from that perspective. But we did review the board's goals, and they really have surprisingly nothing to do with the Education Committee. So something we may want to think about as we go into January's meeting. We may want to have something that's maybe more aligned with academic excellence for our board goals. So just a thought. But other than that, the Education Committee is all set for the first half of the year anyway.
Is there anything that prevents us from running on an academic year schedule? That doesn't make sense to me.
Actually, it's very, very interesting. We had the same discussion in governance, and we've decided that the committee level goals and the annual goals should run on the school year.
Okay, so that'll be shifted. Yeah.
So we're going to shift. So the committee goals, your assignment for the committee goals is to develop SMART goals that run on the school year. So your short-term goals would be ones that have an end date of June 30th or earlier.
Yeah, and obviously the issue that we're running into is because we got the assignment in November.
Right.
It kind of prevents us from doing that for this year. So it's something, and we were already in the process of sort of developing a calendar for the committee, so we'll just have to take that into account for next year.
Yeah, so I think that's great.
One of our goals
having
is
the
around the
calendar.
program of studies, and it just came out this week, so it's kind of like, okay, not a lot we can do around that, but we are still going to do a deep dive for next year.
Great. Yeah, I really like the idea. Maybe it's something we can ask for the other committees as well, is to likely have the board topic calendar, that each committee should have a committee topic calendar. And so every committee chairs think about that so that we can get the right things on there. But and definitely think about goals that would be for the year, and then you think about annual goal, and then you can push for extra credit, you could think about goals that are that are beyond or in the next year. But I think if we can focus on the short term and get goals that align with the school year, makes a lot of sense. Great. Other questions for Liz? Development Committee. Ben has passed the baton to me. So first announcement, as you've heard, that Ben is taking the lead and is now the chair of the Development Committee. I would thank him for taking on that mantle. I think we had a fantastic meeting this month. We did a brainstorming. So here is Ben's summary. And Maura, please leap in if I miss anything. The Development Committee discussed two main topics. First was to formalize the definition for the Development Task Force, Community Outreach Task Force. The purpose of the Community Outreach Task Force will be to focus on the execution of the Development Committee's ideas for the school. We will be posting more information on the goals of the task force, and we'll be inviting interested parents, faculty, corporate partners, and other community representatives to join the Development Committee's efforts. Our goal of this task force is to diverse in nature to maximize all aspects of our AMSA community. And our two members of the task force is Maura and Ben. And the second topic was a brainstorming session that was led by Ben, identifying development activities that will help drive the funding of the school or build stronger relationships with the community. We used a method derived from Six Sigma to capture the committee's ideas broadly. We took the ideas and organized them by strategic value as well as by financial impact of the school. So we had 4 quadrants. And next step is prioritize the ideas and provide them to the Community Outreach Task Force for further definition and creating a plan. Stay tuned. And we'll also be working on a calendar of events. Calendar keep coming back. To outline our plan for the next 12 months. And maybe it'll be even 18 to cover through the end of the school year and into next school year. And that's about it. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. No.
All right. Questions for the Development Committee?
Just want to maybe make mention of save the date for our golf tournament coming up on June 22nd. So think about that, what your companies may want to do and sponsor or create a foursome. So June 22nd, Marlboro Country Club. And the Development Committee is working with the BTO.
Roger, if we may, just give a shout out to Mark Vidal for typing all of those little squares, Post-it notes into one form and sending it to all of the committee members. That was awesome.
That's great. Governance. Jill is not here, but I guess I can. Jess, you're going to help me out on governance as far as things. So I think we sort of gave part of it. We worked very hard on the board topic calendar. We adjusted it to run on the school year rather than on the calendar year. There was a number of tweaks of moving things around, but I think overall the topic calendar didn't have any major changes that I recall in it beyond running on the academic year. So one example is we had quarterly report out, so we just added 2 to the, the first quarter became the third quarter and second became fourth. see, what else? What else? I know we've worked very hard on the topic calendar, and we'll
Goals, we talked about SMART goals for quite some time.
yeah.
I think that about sums it up.
And I think we looked at the goals that were created 2 years ago, determined that we hadn't met a lot of them, but then decided that you had a vision, it's coming back to me, that you had your own goals set up, and then we decided we're going to realign and create goals around your vision for the board moving forward over the next year. Right, with your priorities.
Yeah, I think so. The priorities that I've been trying, we've been very focused on this school year's been very tactical. A lot of the things have been in the year time frame or less, but the 4 goals that I've been stating is finding a permanent solution for facilities, negotiating a contract with the teachers union, charter renewal, and not only just the off-site, but the 5-year plan coming out from that, and to regrow the board. So those are...
What was the last one?
Restocking or regrowing the board. We're making great progress on there, but we still have work to do on all 4 of those. So So we'll need to be thinking both in terms of the board as well as each of the committees as to how they align.
When you say the 5-year plan, you're talking about the
accountability plan.
Yeah,
yes.
the 5-year accountability plan. And I think that would be the sort of the end point. The creation and approval of the 5-year plan would be the end point of the charter renewal process that I'm referring to. So those are the big goals that we have. And we also discussed, just coming back to reality, we also discussed we're looking to recruit additional board members and the priorities.
The needs that we have, yeah.
So I'm doing this from memory. So.
Yeah, at least 2.
Education, facilities.
Yeah.
Development.
We've got it all.
But
It's in there, I just don't have it with me right now.
Yeah.
It's in board on track.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
But we are looking to recruit a couple additional board members to fill out the board and to have a backbench. These people could either ideally just join a committee, don't have to leap directly to the board, could join the board advisory council. There are many different ways that we can recruit people to help us. They don't have to directly come and join us on the board, but we are looking, so think about additional people that you think would be great to join the board, and we will... Yeah. Development. Yeah. So, Sarah or Jess, anything else?
No.
Right. That's governance. Yeah. Meeting effectiveness. So look for first a timekeeper's report and then feedback from the meeting.
I think the timekeeper did a fabulous job tonight. We are 10 minutes ahead of where we're, at least 20 minutes
I
ahead.
actually think we're
24 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
Good job, Jess.
We're like 20.
I mean, all of those dirty looks I was giving you seem to be doing the trick.
I guess we need a teacher for timekeeping.
Yeah, got that eyeball,
Thoughts on meeting effectiveness?
I don't know if this falls in this category, but with the risk of giving a non-popular comment, I think there's a lot of things on board and track that we saw today that we're not using or taking advantage of, and we could.
Yeah,
I know
2
Sarah-
units right in there, right?
It'd be good to actually get hands-on. Like if she was showing it up there, I wanted
I was
laptop in front of
actually
me.
clicking on
Yeah,
things.
I wanted to
No,
try
and I was
that,
doing the same
so,
thing. I put a
yeah.
picture of myself
They've
last
also
night.
changed it.
I updated my picture too while she was doing it.
Oh, okay.
That being said, I feel like that is something that we could have all done on our own time. Like doing it here
That
in a
is
public
true.
meeting seemed not the
Yeah.
most efficient use of our time. For me, I don't know, maybe
Yeah, it
that's
could have
not.
been a
agree.
webinar.
And I would have had my
Yeah.
laptop
And
in
it would
front
have
of me.
been, it would have been more useful.
I feel like I would have gotten more time.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
What's nice about that program is that you, when they do give you their webinars, you can stop, you go back, you can ask questions. It's actually very user-friendly.
Oh,
And
good.
they're in there doing their tutorials. If you have a question, you can hit help, and you can pick one of their topics. It's quite extensive, so it's actually pretty good, but it is different looking at this, like,
So when, I don't know if anybody here will have that off the top of their head, but I realized we hadn't done a self-assessment since 2017. So you mentioned we're planning to do that in the spring?
Yes.
When spring? It's like actual weather spring?
Yeah, it's on the topic calendar. I think it was in the March-ish timeframe. We were trying to balance, we didn't want to do it in September because we had 5 new board members, and we didn't want to do it in June because we wouldn't have any time to react, so I think it's March-ish.
Now, they did ask for board members to fill out their demographics, right? So
Yeah.
That's
Their
an action
profile.
item.
Yeah.
There was 2 action items she gave us. One was to complete our demographic profile, and the other one was our skills profile.
Right.
I did mine while she was talking, and I have a thumbs up. Congrats, you have no incomplete action items.
All right.
That is some effective meetings right there.
While she was doing the timekeeping, I am so impressed. Yes, I am so impressed.
How many Hispanics are there on the board?
I only clicked my data, so I'm just going to say in
No,
this
I was just
seat.
checking that. Just one.
There's none sitting in this seat. That's all
So, yeah, I definitely hear that, in the future, we probably would want to do that as a webinar. The initial one was going to be 45 minutes. I asked her to customize down to 30, so.
And we thank you.
Other thoughts on meeting effectiveness? All right,
Move to along.
running on schedule. Agenda items for the January 9 meeting.
So I don't know if I have to say this out loud because we put it in our topic calendar, but I think we're gonna have the survey results from the pulse survey.
Yeah.
Is that already closed, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Closed right before Thanksgiving.
Right. So I guess we'll have to do something between now and then to be ready to discuss
Yes, I
that.
think the next action step was Lynn needed just to take identifying names out and then get it to you. That's what I asked her to do today. So she's working on it.
Right, so I guess make sure that
Names.
Names.
Identifying names.
Identifying names, except for Mike and myself. Very, very low participation rate. I think it was about 14% among the families. Once again, tough time of year. We may want to move the date up even a little further next year, excuse me. And 40-something% of staff.
So move it into October?
Maybe. So that, but what are you pulsing? It's been a month and a half, so I'm not sure. But 40-something% of the staff with 3 email reminders.
Do you not feel like people who are agitated and angry respond to surveys more than people who are contented?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you have a low participation rate,
it's a good sign.
Probably a good sign.
that's probably a good sign, right? You don't have a lot of people out there sending you hate mail.
That's true.
Because if they were irritated, they'd be clicking all those things.
The family survey was statistically almost identical to last year.
Okay.
Might have been the same people?
Within
Can we count that as a
one-
requirement?
No, we had a much higher, I think we had more like a 38% maybe last year. Was it in the 30s? So half.
The other 24% decided not to do it this year, so the 14 that you got were out of that 38, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, so I guess the agenda topic will be to review results and discuss potential changes to the pulse survey. I mean,
Yep.
maybe one thing we should ask is, do we need a pulse survey on top of the spring survey? And our intention was to use the pulse survey for more topics that were temporary and not consistent over time, as opposed to the spring survey that shouldn't change over year. But if we're not getting any
See what it, yeah, I think it's really good questions.
There may be survey fatigue.
Right, exactly, so that's,
Right.
Yeah.
we can discuss it, but to answer your question, that should be on the agenda.
Yep.
And whatever's in our topic calendar.
Yeah, so the topic calendar, so this is looking for items that are beyond the topic calendar. And so we'll definitely be discussing the board offsite. I expect to be giving more explicit
Homework
plans.
assignment.
Homework assignments, next steps for that. Anything else?
I'm assuming this development task force will come out of committee, so,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be,
yeah.
that would be part of the, that task force would report out as part of the development committee. Are there other action items? Sarah, do we have anything that was pending that did not get done? If we take a look at our December, our October minutes.
We had past action items, and the new action items, committee smart goals, and vision task force documents to be sent to Jill, which they were.
Okay, so we still have the committee SMART goals to be completed. I would encourage the committees to have 2 or 3 SMART goals for this school year. So try to, even if they're simple, we can get 2 or 3 and call it done and focus on getting those done and thinking about the bigger picture for next year.
Do we want to put those in Board on Track?
Yeah.
There's a place for it?
Yes, if we have a place for them, let's use it.
Or both.
Okay. With that, I think we are ready to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the purchase and lease of facilities, legal strategy, and strategy for negotiations with union personnel. So, I'd like...
So moved.
Maura?
Second.
Second from Liz. I need a roll call vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. And I guess we...
Invite.
And inviting Liana, Eric, Ellen, Mike, and Wendy.
Do you think you're gonna get to go home? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. You'll get to go home early than the
Like,
rest
I'm out of here.
All right. So with those invites, and I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Just in time.
Just in time.
I move that we adjourn.
I second it.
Wait, wasn't that?
I think Jill should second it.
Let Jill second it.
You have to adjourn this meeting.
Yeah, well, we...
Oh, okay.
We motioned to move into executive session.
Okay.
The other meeting.
Okay.
You can do that one.
Start executive session at 8:20. Meeting adjourned.
Oh, I know.